Hi guys, MC here again, MC Carter, founder of Practice Paradox. And today it's time for another spot of Friday Beer Storming. Today, I've actually gone with beer. Last couple of Friday Beer Storming, I've used other beverages. Today, I've got an Endeavour Pale Ale from the Rocks in Sydney. Good spot for a night out, the Rocks. Good drop. This is my second for the afternoon, so I'm warmed up and ready to go. Now, today, I'm going to share with you 6 essentials for digital marketing. Now, this applies to you whether you're an accounting firm, bookkeeping, financial planning, any type of business advisory firm, and frankly, any business that has a website or has a website that you'd actually like it to do something for your business in terms of generating leads, inquiries, new clients, new customers. If you know me, you know I'm really big on strategy and structure, and marketing can often seem to the uninitiated lack structure. So what I'm about to share with you is a structure that's easy to follow and will have profound effects on your marketing. So if you are watching this live or even later on, it's funny, a lot of people from around the world say, yeah, I've been following you on Friday Beer Storming, and they're in time zones, which mean they were watching me in the morning or the previous day. But regardless of whether you're live or watching this later, settle in, grab a drink, and I'll share with you these 6 essentials. So let's get into it, shall we? Okay. Point number 1, and I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up. Number 1 is who. Who are you targeting? Who do you want to attract? Don't fall for the trap that is actually a fear-based trap when you think about it, of I can work with anyone with a checkbook and a heartbeat, as the joke goes, anyone who walks through the door. And I'll speak to accounting firms, who are the main types of people that we help globally. We're inch wide, mile deep in digital marketing for accountants. And because in accounting, you can help anyone, because accounting is just so essential. It's the language of business. It's the scoreboard of business. Because you can help anyone, it doesn't mean that you should accept and try to attract any and everyone. So get really specific in the types of clients you want to attract. We were the first people globally to go really strong on niching, or a focus strategy, as Michael Porter out of Harvard describes it, as being pretty much something on the checklist of an essential thing to do, not just an optional thing to do. But with niching, don't think that that means you have to niche based on industry. We teach our members how you can combine 4 different things. So if you can imagine a Venn diagram with 4 different circles, and you can combine any 1, 2, 3, or 4 of those circles in different ways to choose your focus strategy. Niche does tend to imply an industry niche, but it most certainly does not have to mean that. So it can mean industry niche. It could mean focusing on a particular occupation. It could mean focusing on a particular demographic, which just means a fact about them. So the fact might be their age or the stage they are in their family sort of life cycle. It might mean the size of business and so on. Or it could be a psychographic, which is basically what's going on inside their head in terms of their values, their fears, their aspirations. And any one of those, or any combination of those, allows you to have a really strong focus. And beneath this video, I'll share with you later some links to some firms that we've guided and that we know of that have such strong focus strategies that they get a steady stream of inbound leads. So you need to start with that because of essential number 2, which is your keywords. So your keywords are phrases. In SEO, search engine optimization, which we'll talk about in more detail at step 3, but keywords are the phrases that you want to rank well for in Google and Yahoo and Bing. But Google being 90% of search traffic at the moment is clearly the primary one. So rather than just a very short phrase like accountant and then your city or town or suburb or region, that's quite a broad search term, which while there might be a high volume of searches, they'll be highly competitive, meaning a lot of people, a lot of other firms, your competitors are trying to rank well for those broad terms too. And guess what? They tend to attract really price sensitive, generic shoppers, tire kickers, as they're sometimes known. And if someone doesn't have very specific criteria for looking for a new accountant other than someone near me, they probably have as one of their criteria price. So you don't want people who are basing their decision on, oh, you're down the street and you're cheap. You want to attract the very specific type. So I'll ask you this. Do you have documented the phrases that are 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 words long that you want to rank well for in Google? And when I say rank well for, I don't mean merely page 1 in Google. I mean top 3 search results on page 1 of Google in the free listings, which they call organic search results, which always makes me smile. It reminds me of my wife, who's a bit of a whole foodie, right into health and nutrition. But those organic searches basically are the free ones that people find when they search. So we're not talking about the ads at the top and down the side in Google, but the free search results. You want to be top 3 on page 1 of Google, which, as you probably know, shows 10 search results. Plus, depending on the search you've done these days, it'll often show a map above, Google Places it's now called, where it will list others. Now, the top 3 get 80% of the clicks. 80% of the clicks. So really, that is the name of the game. So I'll ask you again, do you have your list of target keywords that you are consciously working towards getting into the top 3 of Google? Because if you don't, you lose. You'll be outcompeted by other firms that understand this stuff and that are consciously doing this and working towards this each week, each month. Now, with keywords, it pretty much is at the top of the tree of a hierarchy. If you think through, okay, what do I need to get in place with my strategy? People think, yes, if I get a bright, shiny new website, that'll fix everything. No, it won't. It's important as a cog in your marketing machine, but what is that website trying to achieve? And the first thing that you want to achieve is to rank well for your target keywords. So how do you decide on your target keywords and phrases? Now, when we onboard a new member at Paradox, we have a web meeting, and the first half of that web meeting is focused on strategy around keywords. And whilst there are some very advanced tools that SEO people use, and we have an SEO team at Paradox, and they're very cool tools if you like data, for the average person, you and me, all you need to do is use what's called Google Suggest or Google Autocomplete. And that's where in Google search, in the little search box, when you start to type and then you hit the space bar, you'll see a drop down of words shown in bold that are the most common searches. So based on the data that follow that initial word that you've typed. So we call that stemming. So you have, the stem to the branch, and then it branches out. So if you typed in accountant, for example, and then did spacebar, and then typed the letter A, you will see the most common words, common search terms that start with A that follow accountant, and then same with B and C. And there are some tools out there, by the way, that you can use that will immediately dump down for you an Excel file, a CSV file that goes through ABC all the way through the alphabet and lists all of those out. But you don't actually need that many. What you need to do is combine that data, so the data of how many searches, the volume of searches, with your intuition. And your intuition, your common sense, life experience, industry experience of, based on who we're trying to attract, when they're looking for help with their business, with their cash flow, with their tax, with their growth, with their technology, whatever it might be, what would they search on? And when you start to think through that lens, what are the people that we're trying to attract? What are they searching on? You're reminded how important the who element is. If you have that anyone with a heartbeat in mind, you'll draw a blank. But if you know, okay, we're focused on family-based businesses that have hit $1 million in revenue and are in the service sector. I just randomly picked up those criteria. There's lots of ways to focus. So by combining what do you think they would search on, and then seeing what comes up in Google Suggest, Google Autocomplete, you can come up with a list. And the other tip on this, by the way, is when you hit enter and do the search, down the bottom, depending on what your search phrase has, often you'll see a little subheading at the bottom of the search results, related searches, with hyperlinks to other searches. And sometimes that can give you ideas of other phrases that make you think, isn't that interesting? Wouldn't have thought to use that word, but it means the same thing. And that will give you ideas of other phrases to add to your list. Now, where do you add your list of keywords? If you're a Paradox member, which you should be, you'll add them into the setup area under the keywords, and you can add up to 30 phrases in there. Now, if you're not a Paradox member and you're not using a keyword ranking tool, which is one of about 30 things that our implementer platform can track, you need to document them somewhere centrally in your knowledge management or wiki system for your business. You've got to know those things, because that is where point 3 of the 6 essentials comes in, which is SEO, search engine optimization. Now look, SEO, when you first come across SEO, when you hear people who know about SEO talk, it can seem highly technical, like they're speaking another language. There's a lot of jargon, but I'll simplify it for you right here. Search engine optimization just means optimizing your website and your entire digital presence so you rank well in the search engines. So it's how to win the search engine rankings game, if you like. It's a little bit actually like tax to me, in that there's a huge body of knowledge you have to get for starters, just to have the grasp of it. And then it's a constantly changing landscape. SEO, tax, every quarter, every year, both of those disciplines change a lot, which is why you need to use specialists. And you also need to use specialists that have 2 characteristics. 1, they understand your industry and your profession, and 2, they understand your culture. Otherwise, they can make changes to your website that changes the wording, changes the way the communication and messaging happens, which ruins the website. Here's a phrase to write down or to file away in your brain. You create your content, so whether we're talking about the words on your web page, your homepage, your website, blog posts, social posts, you create your content, number 1, for humans, and number 2, for Google. So that means you don't do things just to rank well for in Google if they then read like gobbledygook with mentions of your keywords far too frequently. So with SEO, there's 2 types of SEO. And I firmly believe, which is why in the service packages that we offer firms, SEO now is a component in every search package. Whether you're on Build Plus, or Crank It Up, there's SEO to some extent in every package, because to me, it is the easiest, most straightforward way to just methodically improve your Google rankings, your search engine rankings. It's like picking apples off a tree. It's not, gee, I wonder if I could pick those apples off a tree. Yeah, just go get a ladder or a cherry picker and go pick them apples. So you should be investing in SEO, but you should not be investing in SEO if you haven't first become clear on who you're targeting and what your keywords are. You might think, but won't the SEO guys help us work out our keyword phrases? A lot of them don't. So often people come to us for help because of our industry specialization. They say, look, I've been spending money on SEO over here for the last 12 months. It's been costing $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month, and we're not really getting results, or we're getting a lot of inquiries, but they're price sensitive tire kickers. And we always say, okay, what keywords are you focused on? What list of phrases is your SEO team focused on? And the first response we get is, gee, I don't know. Bum, bum. You can see just there how understanding the structure of digital marketing protects you. It insulates you from wasting money in lots of ways, not just SEO, paid traffic, online pay-per-click advertising, and so on. So yeah, the first response usually is, I don't know. So then I say, okay, get the list off them, have them send it through to you, and then send it on to me, and I'll have a look at it. And so often, I've written blog posts about this, so often the phrases are those broad, non-strategic phrases that aren't going to help you attract who you want, because a non-strategic SEO person won't ask you these questions about strategy. They'll do keyword research on volume, but they won't take into account the strategy and your positioning and so on, which is crucial. But let's assume you have a smart collection of keywords that have enough people searching on them, and they're also what's known as profitable keywords. So they're keywords that you want to rank well for because there'll be good quality leads off the back of them. There's two types of activity that an SEO team can do for you. Number one is on-page SEO, and secondly, off-page SEO. Bear with me with the jargon, it's very easy to understand. On-page SEO are just things that can be done on your website. So to the information that people see when they're on your site, and also the information that people don't readily see, but that Google sees and is displayed in Google search results. I was looking at a brand new website today, and the firm was really proud about it. And I said, do you know what the title is for your homepage? So, you know, the main page of their website. The title in SEO vernacular just means the title that gets displayed in Google if that site happens to appear in the search results. And they said, no, I don't know. I said, I'll tell you what it is. It's homepage. That's terrible. It should be brand name, then some sort of divider like the vertical line, and then a headline that includes your main SEO target phrase. But there's a whole range of things that can be done with on-page. Things that are really bad that we see on sites all the time include missing titles, non-strategic titles, duplicate titles. Google hates duplicate titles. So that basically means there are multiple pages on the website that have exactly the same title. And you might think, well, how does that happen? I know exactly how it happens. The lazy web developer in the first place, or someone uneducated in the firm later on, creates new pages based on a template that's built into the system. And the template has a title that can be edited. There's a little field down the screen when you scroll down. But if it's not edited, it'll just be the default title. And so page has been created. They've all got the same titles. And Google hates that. That'd be like, you know, opening a book and you're looking at the table of contents and a bunch of the chapters have the same chapter titles. That'd just be confusing, if not annoying. So duplicate titles are bad. Missing H1 tags means headlines on the top of pages either missing or they may be there, but they're not tagged, it's called. So let's call that formatted in a way that Google says, that's the heading one. That's the main heading of that page. So missing H1 tags, headings is common. There's a whole litany of errors that people have that a good SEO team can fix. But after a while, it's a bit like a garden. After a while, the main things will be fixed and then it needs to be maintained over time. But then there's the second area. The off-page SEO activities are infinite pretty much. The web's a pretty big place, I hear. And off-page are things that are done on the web other than on your site. So getting citations and listings in business directories, other websites, blogs, forums, etc., that create legitimate, ethical, useful links to your website from trusted websites. And that really helps. And one of the reports in Implementer is the link report, which shows you which links from other sites that are coming to your site are helping your site the most. So when you're working with an SEO team, you should not just be interested in the reports on Google rankings and your traffic, whilst that's the end result, it's important. In the early stages in particular, when there's a bit of a lead time before you see the results, you want to see activities. You want to see, show me the links that you've built, and then go and check those links out and see if you like the style of what's being done there, not just for the SEO benefit, which kind of goes without saying, but make sure that it supports your brand and your positioning. Okay, so imagine you've got the first three, you know, who you want to attract. You've worked out your target buyer personas, which I haven't mentioned so far today. If any of these things that I've said today don't make sense to you, that's a sign you need to get educated. You should join us at our next masterclass on the 26th and 27th of July on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. But let's say you're clear on who. You've looked at the data, used your intuition, you're very clear on the keywords. You've got a smart SEO team working for you that understands strategy and SEO. Then number 4 is your rankings. You should be tracking your rankings every single month, and frankly, really every week, on 2 axes, if you like. One, how are you ranking for those phrases that you've got? And how do you compare to some of your competitors? And from a digital marketing perspective, your competitors are not who you see across the road, down the street, who you went to university with, who's a bit of a rival. Instead, no, it just means who's outranking you for those phrases that you are targeting. And in Implementer, the keyword ranking report is brilliant if you are competitive in nature, and I suspect you might be. It's how you win. And it's a great report because it's so nicely presented in that if for a phrase you're not in the top 100, that is color-coded in the tabular report in red. And then when you get into the top 100, and you might think, top 100, MC, you're talking about the top 3 before. Believe me, when you start, you'll be outside the top 100. You just don't know you're outside the top 100 now for a lot of phrases. But that's okay. There's room to improve from there. So yeah, color-coded from red to yellow when you get into the top 100, and then the next 50, then 25, then top 3 is color-coded in blue. So you know you're going really well when you look in Implementer at your keyword tracking report, which each column is a week, and you can see over time it changes from red to yellow to green to blue. And we know that the difference between having a keyword ranking report that's mainly reds and yellows to one that's predominantly greens and blues is thousands of more visitors to your website every month. And I'm not just like plucking a figure there. Most websites of firms, when they start working with us, when we run a few audits on their site, they usually get like 100, 150, sometimes less, unique visitors, people coming to their website each month. Now imagine if that was a store or a cafe or a restaurant, you'd be going broke, and you've spent money on your website. You want to have hundreds of people a week, thousands of people a month coming to your website. And if you're not, you need to fix that. We can help you do that. So that's why number 4 is track your rankings, know how you're improving from one week to the next for each of those phrases, and you track how your competitors are going. Because I failed to mention this earlier, if you've got a competitor or 2 or 3 who are outranking you for a particular phrase that you're after, from an SEO perspective, you can actually reverse engineer that. So we can work out how they're ranking so well. Is it on-page SEO that's been done really well, or do they have lots and lots of links that are targeting that phrase? And then we can outcompete them. It's straightforward when you know how. So far, you might be onto your 3rd beer. I would be if I was actually sipping from this. So you might be thinking, okay, MC, who, keywords, SEO rankings, what's the point of all that? And as you can see, the 5th element here is your website traffic. So, and I've just spoken to that about volume, but you don't want just any old traffic. You want targeted traffic, which is what that's my effort at drawing a target, is all about. So you want traffic that's not just based on those phrases, but is going towards specific pages on your site. And when you get good at blogging, and blogging is one of the things that we help firms do, your good blog posts will often outrank your homepage in terms of how many people come to them each month, because they're targeting specific phrases. But just make sure that your phrases are profitable phrases that are specific towards the types of prospects that you want. Now, okay, imagine this. You've got a website that a year ago was getting 100 visitors a month, and now it's getting 2,000 visitors a month. Yes, high five, everyone. Your business is growing, yes? Not necessarily. So the last element here is conversion. A conference I went to in San Diego a few months ago was called Traffic and Conversion. It's by digitalmarketer.com, Ryan Dice and his crew, very smart people. And traffic and conversion is a great phrase because you've got to bring the horse to water, but the saying says you can't make the horse drink, right? Well, you can. That part is conversion. So conversion is when people come to your site, do they just leave, which in SEO, digital marketing parlance is called a bounce. So they've come to a page, let's say they've come to a blog post and they read it and then they close the tab or the browser and they leave. So that's a fail, right? From a content design perspective, that's a fail. So what you want to do is have very clear actions that people can take when they're on a blog post or a web page that sees them go to other pages or sees them download or somehow interact. And lots of examples I can share with you where high volume, high ranking blog posts initially may have had a bounce rate of 99%. And we can see that in another report again in the Implementer platform of ours. And you go, right, wow, only 1 in 100 visitors is actually staying on the site and doing things. What can we do to address that? And there's a ready list of strategies, techniques, tactics, apps, tools that you can use, like HelloBar, Sumo, ConvertFlow. They're the apps, but then you use content around that to get people to download things and end up on your list. So your list should be growing. So your email, your marketing database list should be growing every day of the week. Every morning when you check your email inbox, you should see notifications of people having opted in, and not just as the primary call to action on your website of subscribe to our email newsletter. No one woke up this morning and thought, you know what we need in our business? We need another email newsletter coming to our inbox. In and of itself, there's no real benefit there. So the best way to grow your list is with valuable specific lead magnets, they're called, which can be a 1-page, 2-page, 22-page, doesn't matter, PDF, or it could be a quiz, a self-assessment, could be a little app, could be a template, like an Excel template, a Word template, business plan, cash flow template, that they download, and in the process, they fill out a little form with their email address, maybe other information, and they're in your database. So that's it. It's a long beer storming, but each of those things is crucial. If you miss any of these for who, keywords, SEO, rankings, website traffic, or conversion, you're going to have a broken link in the chain. It's like one of the cogs in your marketing machine is jammed or missing, and you won't be getting the results. But when you methodically address every single one of those 6 essentials, your marketing works. Pretty much like clockwork. Speaking of clockwork, it's 5:05. I'm going to clock off. I hope you've had a fantastic week. Hope you've achieved your objectives in terms of your results, KPIs, and at the very least, your activity KPIs in terms of the actions that you've done. Because if you've done that, the results will just happen anyway. So thanks for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your beer or beverage, and I'll see you next week for another spot of beer storming. Bye for now.